We are live. Hello, everybody. Here I am, Trailer Trash Tim, and look at my guest. I threatened you with this, and there she is, hailing all the way from Missouri, weighing in at, oh, never mind. Hello, darling. Say hey to the people.
Hey, people. And hey, darling.
It's good to have you.
It's good to be here. Thank
Happy
you.
Thursday to everyone. So give us an update. Tell us all what's happening in your neck of the woods with everything up there, and get us up to speed.
Okay. Well, I got Daddy through the flu and the COVID or whatever it was he had, and he's feeling a whole lot better. But they rescheduled his surgery for February 9th
Right.
instead of the 2nd. So we have to wait till next week. But after that, a week or two after that, I should be able to come home.
Woo! Now we're talking.
Yeah.
All right. So all of you out there, there's your update. Keep us in your prayers and what have you, and we would appreciate that. And man, it's good to have Marina back. If only in this format.
If only virtually.
That's right. But at least she's here. So we're going to kind of tag team on a few things I want to talk about today. Now, just another reminder, today is Thursday. On Sunday, we're doing a live stream at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we plan to be together. Now, I'm not a geek. I'm not a technical guy at all, so I'm doing the best I can. But I think this is going to turn out all right. I think I've got this part of it figured out. So anyway, it's pretty cool. We can both be on camera at the same time. So anyway, there's a whole lot going on, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it and where I'm right, and Marina's going to tell you where I'm full of baloney. We'll just see. We're just going to jump in the water and see where it goes. I want to start with the impeachment proceedings against Alejandro Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas is the Secretary of is it
Homeland Security? Yeah.
Homeland Security. He is the one who is charged with the defense of the border. So I think he's been doing a fairly crappy job, if you ask me. And
he's been doing no job at all.
Obviously.
He's helping them come across. It has been proven that he and the Biden administration are helping them come across. So,
the Republicans in Congress, at least, have banded together and they have voted, of course, with no help from any Democrat, as far as I know. And they have voted to impeach him from office. Now, I don't know exactly how this goes. I know how presidential impeachments work. They get a vote about impeachment in the Congress, and then if it's successful, then they send the case over to the Senate, which basically acts as a jury trial to convict or not convict. So I don't know how it works in this case.
In this case, they passed they accepted the articles of impeachment in committee, and it still has to go to a full vote on the House floor. So,
okay. And then I assume it goes to the Senate.
I assume so.
So, assuming that all the Republicans support the impeachment of Mayorkas, and certainly they should, everybody should. Then it will go over to the Senate. So we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to relay. I've got several notes here. Let's see where I am. House panel approves articles against Department of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. I'm looking for a couple of pull quotes from this story. House Speaker Mike Johnson pledged on Friday, this was last Friday, to hold a floor vote on the articles as soon as possible. Having released a memo earlier this month citing 64 times the Biden administration undermined U.S. border security. I bet I could come up with more than 64. But anyway, that's where it is. And I got a bunch of stats here I won't bore you with. But I think everybody pretty much has a gist on what's happening at the border. And there's just a roll call of several members of Congress and how they voted. Let me give you a quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said,
she's always a good one.
For almost a year, committee Democrats have turned a blind eye to the victims of the border crisis while berating us for spending what they believed was too much time investigating Secretary Mayorkas' handling of the border. If your refusal to obey the law leads to the death of your fellow citizens, you no longer deserve to keep your job. You're breaking the people's trust. Amen, sister.
Yep,
And
I agree.
of course, he doubled back or doubled down on her. But I think this is just open and shut. I could go on and on and on with data, but it's stuff you all have heard before. The bottom line is this: Mayorkas needs to go. His boss needs to go, because this is treasonous behavior, if you ask me. The bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, and you chime in here, it's not that they're so much incompetent. It's not so much that they're not doing their job. This is by design.
Yes,
This
of
is
course
what
it's
they
by
want.
design.
This
They're
this
doing this on purpose and then turning around and gaslighting us and saying, I've done everything I can do. I mean, Biden was saying that just yesterday. I've done everything I can do. Tell the Republicans to pass this next bill. Well, he hasn't done everything he could do. He undid the border controls with executive orders his first day in office, the
right,
dumbass.
right.
And all he has to do is undo what he did.
Okay, this is a rhetorical question for you. I know the answer. I'm sure you know the answer, and I'm sure everybody watching knows the answer. But the question is why? Why are they not doing anything about the border crisis? Why?
Well, there's a couple of different theories on that, but personally, I think they're doing it to replace us. The Democrats cannot stay in power if they don't have anybody to vote for them. They can't cheat big enough to get out of the hole that Biden has dug for them. And so it's to replace us.
I go back. You're right. I go back to the time of Obama, who said when he came into office that he wanted to fundamentally transform America, and by George, he did. He gave it a
Well,
good lick. And
they've
of
done
course,
it.
this is the third term of Obama, as we
Mm,
know.
yeah.
Obama is behind the scenes, pulling chains, pulling strings, as far as I can
Yep.
tell. And
Hmm.
this is part of his strategy. It's part of the Obama doctrine to fundamentally transform America and flood us with illegal aliens, because to them, they don't give a damn about the crisis or the absolute human cost at the border, even to the illegal aliens. There's, you've got the sex trafficking, you've got the fentanyl, but what they want, what these evil people want, are votes. That's what they're after. They want
Right.
to transform, particularly the
Well, they don't care
state of
that these
Texas.
people they don't care that these people are enslaved to the cartels. They're basically indentured servants
Right,
to the cartels, which is slavery.
right,
The Irish
exactly.
know something about that. Thank you. Um, and that, like you said, the children and the women and probably even some men being sex trafficked, and of course that's total slavery. Um,
Is it not ironic to you that a war was fought with slavery being one of the main issues of the war, supposedly, and it was an issue in the war between the states, and it was a Republican president ostensibly who ended slavery, and you've had since that time Democrats resisting Republican efforts. Um, in terms of a civil rights legislation, it was Democrats under Lyndon Johnson that fought that. And of course, if you were to poll any Democrat, they would all find the issue of slavery or the topic of slavery absolutely abhorrent. Of course, they're opposed to slavery, yet it is you're absolutely correct. What we've got on the border is nothing but slavery all over again. And look once again at who is favoring slavery, just like the old Southern Democrats were pro-slavery.
yep.
What else can you say? What more proof do
Well,
you need?
outwardly, the Democrats say that they are against slavery. But again, their actions speak louder than their words. It's obvious.
Sex trafficking equates to slavery.
Yes.
Is there a more insidious form of slavery than that?
Not as far as I'm concerned. And well, let's not stop there. That's not the only form of slavery. There are some who are going to be working undocumented on farms and things of that
Not getting
nature.
minimum wage.
No, well, they won't get paid at all because all their money will go to the cartels until they get them paid off. And the average payment for these people is $5,000 or $6,000 a piece. You know,
Paid to
um,
the cartels.
yeah.
So the bottom line is this is a huge business that's going on
The
under our
cartels
nose.
are making well over $10 billion a year
Right.
funneling these people through the border.
Ostensibly with the president's blessing.
Ostensibly,
Ostensibly with Mayorkas' blessing.
of course.
I don't understand why it is. I applaud the efforts Greg Abbott is making right now, but I don't understand why it has taken so long for him to clock in on this issue unless
Well,
there's
he's
been
not.
something going on under the table.
I don't know, but Greg Abbott is not a firebrand, and he does have to try and keep the other half of the population happy in his state. Um, you know, um,
Why worry about that?
I
He,
wouldn't. I mean, I personally wouldn't worry about that. I'd tell him to kiss my big toe.
I
But
say, stop being a politician and do your job. Protect
yeah,
your
stop
children.
being a wuss.
Yeah, exactly.
Do what's right, whether the majority of the people are with you or not.
All right, I'm going to move on from this.
Okay.
Although we could go on this for quite some time, I'm sure, but I think everybody gets the gist of the problem here. The Republicans are fighting back against this absolute
Invasion.
travesty, this invasion, however they can, and so they're trying to get Mayorkas fired. That's a start, of course. Where do we stand with articles of impeachment on Biden? Do you know?
I don't know where that is. I know that there are 3 or 4 Congress people who have laid out articles of impeachment for Biden. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has done it since day one. So, I don't know. I don't. It seems to me that Jim Jordan's committee, the Judiciary Committee, is kind of dragging its feet. And Comer's committee, they talk a lot. Comer talks a lot, but
Where's
where
the
are
vote?
they?
Where's the
You
vote?
know,
Where's
yeah.
the vote?
But I mean, it didn't take this much to impeach Donald Trump, for Christ's sake.
Or Nixon?
So
Well,
why don't we just
it didn't get to that point, but
get it done?
yeah, it's just Republicans are like turtles.
Republicans are worthless for the
Well, they're
most part.
controlled opposition, I suppose you would say. All right, let me move
Yeah,
on from this because we're going to get bogged down because we could spend a lot of time on that. I want to
yeah.
talk about real quickly now. We've got, I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but we have yet another case of plagiarism at Harvard University. Did you know this?
Yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't read any of the articles because I thought, what the hell? I mean,
This
we all
appeared
know
on
it's going on.
the freebeacon.com. I won't read the whole story, but the headline is not just Claudine Gay. Claudine Gay, of course, is the former president who had to resign in
Right.
disgrace. Harvard's chief diversity officer plagiarized and claimed credit for her husband's work, complaint alleges. This is a woman by the name of Sherry Ann Charleston. She is the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Well, we got to have that. We need a DEI monitor for our channel. I think we
No,
need.
I'm thinking the pride flag needs another stripe for the liars.
There you go. Sherry Ann Charleston, the DEI officer for Harvard University, appears, ladies and gentlemen, to have plagiarized extensively in her academic work, lifting large portions of text without quotation marks, and even taking credit for a study done by another scholar, her own husband, according to a complaint filed with the university on Monday and a Washington Free Beacon analysis. So here we go again. This story
I
just blows my mind. It's not Big Al's tax prep and taxidermy school. It's freaking Harvard Uni-freaking-versity.
Yeah. You think somebody would catch on?
Is there not a more prominent and prestigious university in America than Harvard? And here we go again. Everybody and his brother and sister apparently is plagiarizing all their work. It's unbelievable to me. Do you remember when plagiarism was a thing?
I remember when it was wrong.
Well, what would happen, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago if you're a university student and you plagiarized a term paper or a thesis? What would happen?
You got kicked out and you were not allowed back.
Right. And rightly so. But apparently you can go to Harvard right now and just have at it. Lift whatever you want, write a thesis, and just go to the library and copy somebody else's and turn it in. Apparently that's okay. And the outrageous thing to me, aside from the plagiarism of the president who just had to resign recently, was the fact that so much of the faculty of Harvard came out and supported this woman who had plagiarized.
Well, they're all in the same group. I mean, if you're in DEI, the main thrust of that entire thing is lying about a lot of things. For instance, at one medical school, I forget where now, but no, it wasn't a medical school either. It was the FAA had secret words that they would tell people of color to put in their resumes. And if they put that word in their resumes, then whoever was reading the resume would know that they were a person of color and they would be advanced above all these other people. I mean, this is ridiculous. So they're finding ways to break our non-discrimination laws.
I talked about this a week or so ago with special regard to Southwest Airlines, who has, I think it was Southwest, or no, I think it was United. I believe it was United.
The one that has the gay dude.
Yeah, in Denver, and they've just completely embraced DEI.
I'm not flying again until somebody does something.
Well, look what's important. I mean, you would think the competence of the pilot and the safety of the passengers and the service.
Well, and who's the Secretary of Transportation?
That would be Mr. Pete Booty Buddy, would it not?
Yeah, it would be him. Yeah.
Well, maybe he was out on maternity leave, and maybe that's what happened here. You know, when the cat's away or something. I don't know. Maybe he was nursing his child at the time they decided to embrace DEI. I'm sure he.
Who knows?
But you know, if you're flying, what I want is the most competent pilot you can give me. I don't care what their sex, gender, or skin color is. I just want them to know what the hell they're doing.
Exactly.
But I don't want to get to the terminal and find the employees of United or Southwest or Delta or anybody else having a gay parade, for heaven's sakes.
Well, if that happened to me, I cancel my flight. Forget it. I'm not going anywhere with these people.
You're better off hitchhiking right now, I think. All right, let me move on from Harvard. I didn't want to spend so much time on that, but that's okay. We're just free flow here, folks. I got to get to this. Have you heard about the man? Apparently, it's a good old boy went to the capital of Iowa. What's the capital of Iowa? Was it Des Moines or?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Cedar Rapids. I used to know all my state. I'm ashamed of myself. I used to know all my state capital. Anyway, I'll tell you here in a minute because I'm going to find the story. Did you hear about the Satanic temple in Iowa?
And he decapitated their Baphomet statue. Yeah.
Here we go. This appeared in the Des Moines Register. Suspect charged with hate crime for destroying Satanic temple display at the Iowa Capitol. A Mississippi man. You go, dog.
He's a Navy veteran, too, I believe.
He admitted to destroying a statue of the pagan idol Baphomet at the Iowa Capitol, and he's been charged with a hate crime. The statue was part of a display organized by the The
Wait.
Satanic Temple.
So it's now illegal to hate satanic statues?
Apparently. Uh,
Oh,
the statue was part of a display organized by the Satanic Temple of Iowa under state rules allowing religious displays in the Iowa Capitol during the holidays. The installation drew strong criticism from state and national leaders, including Governor Kim Reynolds and Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. On December the 14th, the centerpiece of the display, a figure depicting the horned deity Baphomet, was destroyed beyond repair, according to the Satanic Temple of Iowa. Michael Cassidy, a former congressional candidate from Mississippi, was charged the following day with fourth-degree criminal mischief, a misdemeanor.
you go, dude.
The Lauderdale, Mississippi man told the conservative website, The Sentinel, that my conscience is held captive to the word of God, not to bureaucratic decree, and so I acted. And Mr. Cassidy, this is
Thumbs
for
up,
you, sir.
dude.
It's
Yeah,
funny
thumbs
to
up.
me that Governor Kim Reynolds and Governor Ron DeSantis and other political officials in Iowa were just outraged and offended by somebody who would put a satanic temple display on the state capitol grounds. Oh, they're absolutely outraged, but they wouldn't do beans about it. It takes a good old boy from Mississippi to come up there and show them this is how you deal with this crap.
All right, but then they arrest him.
And charge him with a hate crime. What the heck that is? A hate crime. This is such baloney. Listen,
Well, hate
sometimes.
crimes, there's no such thing as a hate crime because all crime is hateful. I mean,
Yeah.
if you commit a crime against somebody, you're not doing it because you're in love with them.
Well, at what point? I mean, you have the constitutional right. Correct me if I'm wrong. To have a religious display on the town square, such as a manger scene or a cross or even a Star of David, perhaps if you're of the Jewish religion, what have you. But for the love of crap, do we just lose our brains completely when somebody puts up a depiction of a satanic display and the God, little g, the satanic deity Baphomet, and we're just going to sit around with our hands in our pockets and do nothing? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, it takes a good old boy from Mississippi to do the right thing. We just completely lose our common sense over stuff like this. Anybody in
Well,
any town, in
when
any.
was when was the last time any of those protesters back a couple of years ago who were tearing down historical statues, when was the last time one of them was charged with anything? None of them, as far as I know.
Well, you tear down statues of Jefferson and Lee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with the blessing of your local government.
Well, it's aggravating to me.
But this is just absurd. I mean, first of all, the thing should not have been allowed in your town, in your state capital in the first place. And don't hide behind this, well, it's religious freedom and religious liberty, when we all know that's nonsense. Anytime you see any examples of Christianity being displayed in a town square, everybody knows, everybody gets all up in arms about it. We don't
Yeah.
want to offend anybody, but it's okay to offend everybody with your satanic display. That's okay. You're fair game. You shouldn't say anything about that because we know we got to be loving and tolerant and compassionate, and we got to be diverse and inclusive and have equity. Nuts to
Ugh.
that. Thank you, Mr. Cassidy from Lauderdale, Mississippi, for going up there and showing them what for. Good for
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Cassidy. Thank
And you
you.
people in Iowa need to be ashamed of yourself. You political leaders in Iowa need to be ashamed of yourself for arresting this man. You ought to give him an award, for Pete's sakes, for having the guts to do what you didn't have the guts to do. Unless
That's
maybe
right.
you're all Satan. Maybe you didn't do it because you're Satan worshipers. Is that what it is?
Maybe that's what it is.
Iowa? Iowa? Is there anybody watching from Iowa? Can you help me out with this? What do y'all got, a scourge of Satanism all of a sudden in Iowa? What's going
Right.
on in them cornfields up there, for heaven's sakes? I saved the best for last. Oh, this is a beauty right here. Everybody should have heard by now that we've had a speech given by good old Ilhan Omar. Now, everybody, sit up and take notice. Let me get a swig of this. Is Pellegrino. It's not Bud Light. Pellegrino. It's not bad either. All right, here this comes to us from the New York Post of all things. Ron DeSantis wants squad member Ilhan Omar expelled and deported over her Somalia first speech. He said on Twitter or X, expel from Congress, denaturalize, and deport the former and deport. DeSantis tweeted, and he's absolutely right about this.
I agree. He's right.
Get the woman out of Congress, expel her from Congress, denaturalize her from Congress, and deport her. Send her back to Somalia. Listen to what this woman says. I quote, "The U.S. is a country where one of your daughters is in Congress to represent your interest." And she's talking to Somalians. "For as long as I am in the U.S. Congress, Somalia will never be in danger. Its waters will not be stolen by Ethiopia or others. Sleep in comfort, knowing I am here to protect the interest of Somalia from inside the U.S. system."
And she repeatedly called the Somali president our president. And she went on to tell the crowd that she has a special relationship with the president of Somalia. She calls him uncle, and he calls her my girl.
You're going to have to keep talking because I'm speechless. I mean, here is the woman elected to Congress in Minnesota. God bless you people in Minnesota, Tracy and some of you others.
Well, they let all those Somalian refugees in a decade or so ago.
Who let them in?
It was Obama.
Thank you. This is where she came from. It was Obama who let in all the Somalians into America. And do you remember he said, "This isn't going to change our demographic? Oh, it's not going to change our demographic."
Well, they all congregated in one place because they know what they're doing.
They all congregate, all the Somalians go to one locale in Minnesota where they can outvote everybody else on a local basis in local elections.
Right.
This is also happening in Dearborn, Michigan, by the way. But here, this wreck.
Speaking of Arabs and Muslims and the such, did you hear about the Arab and Muslim leaders in Dearborn, Michigan, that canceled their planned meeting with Biden?
Go ahead, but I want to get back to Ilhan. No, I did not hear about that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, he's lost the Arab Muslim community. They had planned a meeting with some of Biden's people, and they ended up canceling the meeting because so many in their community were outraged because they're so unhappy with the Biden administration over its handling of the Israeli-Hamas situation. And so the representatives told the Biden people, "There's no point in you coming here because you're not going to change their minds."
Really?
Yeah.
I had not heard that.
Yep.
Must have been out slinging cake or something.
You must have been.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Ilhan Omar. Is this not the young gal that married her brother or something?
Yes. She committed immigration fraud.
And incest. At least on paper.
At least on paper, yeah.
So she married him and didn't say this was her brother? That's how it
Well,
works?
right. It was to get him into the country.
Wow. And nothing's happened to her.
Well, hell no.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know where things stand with this? Or is anybody in Congress doing anything about her?
Does it look like anybody in Congress is doing anything about her?
Anybody? It looks to me like about the only people in the Congress that have a spine are the ladies, people such as Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Or Boebert or Stefanik.
Yeah, or maybe Jordan. I don't know. But this is just outrageous. I mean, this woman is in the Congress, the House of Representatives in the United States of America, representing a district from the state of Minnesota, and she's standing before microphones basically saying make Somalia great again.
Well, and wasn't she prior to 2022? Wasn't she also on the Foreign Affairs Committee?
I believe she was. I'd have to double check. I can't say that for sure, but that sounds right. That really
Imagine having somebody who is loyal to another country on the Foreign
how does
Affairs
this
Committee.
happen? How does this happen? Of course, what you're talking about is when the Democrats had control, so anything goes.
Right. Well, right.
She can't have a chairmanship right now, but she ought not be on any committee. She ought not be in Congress. She ought
I
not
don't
be
think
in
she's on
Minnesota.
any
She ought not be
committees
in
at
America.
present because the Republicans kicked her off her committees when they took over the House.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this stuff happens in our country.
And Cori Bush, there was something going on with Cori Bush
I heard
too.
something about her today. She's a Democrat from Florida, and I heard that.
No, the one from Missouri. Who am I thinking of?
No, you're right. I'm thinking about the woman that wears a cowboy hat.
Oh, no. But this lady apparently said something against the Biden administration. I forget what, because they do it so seldom. You'd think I'd remember. But anyway, and soon after that, now she's under investigation for misusing federal funds for her security detail.
Oh.
Apparently, she paid her husband to be her security detail.
Is she related to Fannie Willis?
You would think so.
My goodness. All right, look, darling, that's a half an hour. That's probably enough bloviating for one session here today.
Okay.
So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show.
It's good to see you all, or it's good to be seen by you all, I guess I should say.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, make sure you give us a thumbs up down below and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Are you going to be with us tomorrow, or are you taking the day off, or what?
I don't know. It depends on what Daddy's got going on.
All right, I understand. Give us your comments down below. Thank you, everybody, for joining with us. Go out there and have a great Thursday. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I guess you would say Trailer Trash Marina, or
why not?
All right, why not? Thanks for joining us. We will see you either tomorrow or very soon. If nothing else, we'll both be with you, God willing, Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for the live stream. All right, we're out. Thank you.
Bye-bye.